Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to demonstrate how UDP server and client communicate with each other and what are the resources used while coding it in Java. So first of all, we can see that there are some basic things used here like datagram socket and datagram packets, and also we have INET addresses which is here. So their definitions are here, like datagram socket constructs a datagram socket and binds it to any available port on the local host machine. The work of the datagram socket is to bind the socket with any available port on the local host machine. Then datagram socket packet. The datagram packet constructs a datagram packet for sending packets of length to be specified port number on specified host. Means the packets to be sent are taken over and controlled via datagram packets. INET address. Java INET class represents an IP address. The java.net. These are the packages. Java, then net package. Then in that net package there is a class known as INET address class, provides method to get the IP address of any host name. So these are for the following definitions which can help you. Then here's the code. First of all, the code of the server. Then we created a class. It has a main method. The main method is used, as we all know, to execute this Java program and make it executable. Then datagram socket, we initialize it with null. Null means nothing. Then we use a try catch. Try catch block is used if there is any exception or any kind of flaw in the program, so the program does not crash. It handles that program from crashing. Then we initialized this object A socket with new datagram socket, and we mentioned here a port number. Since then we used byte array and named it as buffer, and we mentioned its length, which is 1000 indexes. With that, it's a byte array which can control the data, and the data is always sent in the form of packets, so it is always in bits or bytes. Then we started an infinite loop, while loop, which has datagram packet, a class datagram packet. Its object name is request, new datagram packet, which takes two parameters. The number one is the buffer, means the message, and buffer with length means the length of the buffer. Then we used a method of datagram socket class a socket dot receive, means we will receive something, the server will receive something, which is the request. The request which can not be more than 1000 bytes, which is stored in the byte array, will be received by the datagram socket. Then datagram packet will reply it with new datagram. There is also another object of this class datagram packet. Reply is equals to new datagram packet. Then request dot get data means whatever the request was, we will take the data from it. Then request dot get length means whatever the length of the request was, it is mentioned here. Then request dot get address, from which local which machine it has been received. So for now we have the local machine, so it will be received from 127.0.0.1. And then request dot get port means the port address will be from the request will be accumulated or will be used in this parameter. Means totally there are 4 parameters, comma separated. Then a socket will send the reply. First it has received the packet means message, and now it is replying. And for the client, we have mentioned here a variable, string variable client data is equals to new string, and whatever the client has requested, we will just put it in a variable of client data, and then we will print it simply. For now, we have used 2 exceptions. One socket exception, if there is something wrong with socket, it will be printed here, and if there is an IO exception, it will be printed in this block. With that, there is a finally block. Finally block is a part of try catch exception handling, that whatever the scene is, if the try blocks does not execute, the catch will execute. If whatever the code happens, if it runs perfectly or not. In the finally block will 100% will be executed. So whatever the code is which is essential for you, so we keep it in finally block, so that whatever the program result is, we can finally do some special works, like we have to close the socket connection we have just created. So it is necessary to close that socket connection, so we put this code of socket in finally block, so that if there is a unexpected exception or the program runs perfectly, whatever the case is, the socket is closed at any cost. So this was the file of server, and now we will moving on towards the UDP client. UDP client main method, as mentioned before, I have told you, it takes two arguments. One is the message contents, and the second one is the host server name, means server host name, whatever the server IP is, it takes it in the second parameter. So datagram socket, again try catch block, again we initialize the a socket object and another byte array which takes arguments dot get bytes, means whatever the data I am sending, data hello bsit part 4, so I am sending this data, so I will convert this string data type into bytes array, and then I will store it in the bytes array which is named m. Then inet address, as I told you before, inet address, why it is used, inet address is used for to get the methods of the it provides the methods to get the IP of the any host name. Like google.com, it has a backend IP of 1.1.1.1. Similarly, it takes the IPs. And we have just mentioned here inet, we initialize this object our host with inet.get by address, and it sends the address 127.0.0.1, which is the local machine address, as I have commented also here, IP of same machine on which machine we are. The server port number which we initialized in our server class also 6789. Then datagram packet, we are making object of datagram packet. Datagram packet request is equals to new datagram packet. First of all, we have given the message, whatever the message we are sending, means from client side, then its length, then the host address at which port we have to send the address, and the last but not the least, the server port, because we are doing socket programming, and socket programming says that it is a combination of IP address and port number. So here comes the IP address and here comes the port number, the message which clients want to send in the M in the form of bytes array, and the length of the message. Finally, the socket will send the request, and it will then receive. Then we created a buffer array, means byte type array of size 100 indexes. Then it will receive the reply from the server which we have just requested, and we will receive the reply in the asocket method by using asocket method receive. And then finally we will convert the string server data, whatever the server has just responded us, we will just save it in the from reply.get data. Reply is the object of datagram packet. We will extract it, or we will just take it from the object of datagram packet and in the form of data, and we will store it in server data. Finally we will print that data. There are also cache blocks if there is any problem in socket or IO. And then finally block, as I just mentioned, what is the finally block and what does it do? It does the only the essential work of yours. That's all for today. Hope you will all do it for your best. Thank you. Take care. Allah Hafiz.